Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's our little corner of YouTube, and we are very grateful to have opportunity with you again to share some things. This video has been a little bit hard fought. I've been trying to get to this video for all week, but one thing and then another happened. So anyway, here we are, and I'm grateful to be here. So what I want to do today is I want to share a few things that I really feel like, for me personally, are like if I had to just take off in a hurry and take with me just the things that I really need health-wise, these are some of the things that I would definitely put in my bag. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about is essential oils, and that one was very difficult for me. So what I decided to do is I brought my bag of one of my bags of essential oils out here. The fact that I have more than one bag of essential oils should let you know what I think about essential oils. I think they're very useful. But at any rate, I decided that I would just bring my bag out here and kind of mentally limit myself to, I'm going to say 7. My top 7. 7's a good number. And so we'll do that at one point, and I want to show you a few other things. Some things I have other videos on, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but anyway, I want to just share with you. So I brought a couple of my gadgets out here that I also like to have, and I'll show you those in just a minute. So I have this box here. You can't see the box. I don't have anybody to run the camera for me. So I'm just going to show you what I have in this box kind of one by one and briefly touch on them, and then we'll move on here. Kaylin and I, by the way, are planning to do a Q&A video hopefully here in the next week or so, and I'm compiling questions for that video. So if you have any questions for us about remedies, about the Bible, about, I mean, even our ministry, what we do and stuff, feel free to ask, and we'll cover as many of those as we can. So let's get into this here. This goes with this gadget over here. All right, let's see what all we have in here. So kind of what I'm going to cover is just a few supplements that I really think we all need to probably consider. And the first one I want to mention is vitamin D3 with K2. Most people are deficient, and if you study the research at all, if you think back on when this virus was going around a couple years ago, which I guess it's kind of made a resurgence, the flu doesn't exist anymore. So anyway, the worst outcomes, studies were done on those people, and the majority, if not all of those people, had very low vitamin D levels. And so the kind that I use is a liquid, sublingual. You just drop, right up under your tongue. One drop is 1,000 IU. So usually I take about 5 drops a day. This is a brand by SBR Nutrition. Now, this is not the vegan formula. This is made from sheep's wool, and no animal is harmed in the process. I'm not eating meat or anything like that. It's just extracted from the lanolin from their wool. So I don't have a problem using this, but SBR Nutrition does make a vegan brand. It's made out of some sort of algae, and so you can look into that. So I personally believe that everyone needs to have a vitamin D level test done. If you go to your doctor and say, I need my vitamin D level tested, they'll know what you're talking about. And so most people, when I married Kalen, I think his levels were in the single digits or low teens. I can't remember. But we were able to triple, I think, his levels in like 3 months using this brand, SBR Nutrition. You can find it on Amazon, you can find it on eBay, you can find it on their website. And so, excuse me. So that's one. Another thing that I'd like to mention before I leave this If you're taking vitamin D3 with K2, make sure that it's D3 with K2, and I prefer liquid. And the reason for that is because some people's guts are so messed up they can't really assimilate much from their gut. So, you know, if you use sublingual, that bypasses all that. It just is absorbed right in the mouth. But if you're taking this and you can't get your levels up still, it may be because you're magnesium deficient. So you might want to look at a magnesium. I had a video on magnesium, so I'm not going to go into that. Another thing, and you know, I have a lot of people that disagree with me on this, and I totally respect that. I do believe that we need to get all that we can from our foods. But when you consider the fact, like for instance, and I'm going to talk about this more when I talk about one of these, or actually both of these gadgets in just a minute. Kaylin and I were reviewing this morning the ingredients in all of these lovely tic-tac-toe clouds that we have these days. When I was in school, those kind of clouds were not in the textbooks. So there's some kind of new invention, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up something called geoengineering. So some people know it as chemtrails. At any rate, one of the ingredients in those things is mold. Think about that. Why would they be spraying mold? Another ingredient is aluminum, which causes Alzheimer's. That's interesting. There's a lot of things in those. Go to geoengineeringwatch.org and look, just do a little research. Okay? So that was a little bit of a kind of a side road there, but I said that because, you know, with the farming practices these days, even if you're eating organic foods, buying organic foods, you don't know how that's grown. And most of the soils that our foods are grown on these days, and I forgot to bring something that I wanted to bring, but I'll mention it, are depleted of minerals. And that's because part of what they're spraying in those clouds is glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in Roundup, and that is a chelator. It pulls minerals out of plants. Think about that. If our food doesn't have the minerals, this is why we see so many sickly people today, including myself. You know, I've been struggling with mold toxicity and stuff. So I'm dealing with the reality of this. But even if you eat organic, your food may not have the minerals in it that it needs. And so there's certain things that I think that we do well to supplement. Vitamin D3, K2 is one of them. And another one is vitamin C. Most people are very deficient in vitamin C because vitamin C is important in the detox pathways in the body. And most of us have just depleted our stores of vitamin C. Yes, we can get some in our food, but again, our foods are depleted. They don't have what they used to have. I do believe, again, that we should get what we need from our foods, but we can't always do that. So, what do I use? There's two that I have in front of me right here. When I use a powder, I like Love by Nature, and I use another one called sea salts. That one is sourced from corn, and I try to stay away from corn as much as possible. So I don't use that as much anymore. My husband occasionally uses it, but I've switched to this one. It's made by Love by Nature. It's a powdered buffered vitamin C. I think each teaspoon is 4 grams, and I have had really good success using high-dose vitamin C. It kept my tetanus from running its full course and putting me into full-blown death by tetanus. So another thing that I use that's very convenient for traveling is liposomal vitamin C capsules. This one is made by Nutriflare. Love by Nature, they have their own website. I think Nutriflare also has a website, but I usually get mine either off of eBay or Amazon or something, you know, VitaCost, iHerb, those kind of places. Sometimes you can buy this in bulk a little bit cheaper, but I have a video on how to make your own liposomal vitamin C, so I'm not going to go into vitamin C a whole lot. So vitamin C would definitely be in my bag. Vitamin K, D3 with K2 would definitely be in my bag. Activated charcoal. Okay, I have here a powder and I have capsules. So both forms. The powder is good for poultices, soaks. I have lots of videos on charcoal, so you can just go look those up. But anyway, charcoal would definitely be in my bag to go with me. Cayenne pepper would be also in my bag, and I don't have a specific video on cayenne, but I have a video called Mama Had a Stroke, Thank God for Cayenne, something like that, I can't remember. But anyway, these are capsules. You can just open one of these and sprinkle it in someone's mouth if they're, I have never used it for someone having a heart attack, but if you watch my video, I used the tincture that I made to stop my mother's stroke. And so I won't go into a lot of detail on that. Go watch those videos. So cayenne would be in my bag and go with me. Now, here is one that I am actively studying about, and the more I study, the more I wonder why I haven't used this stuff more. DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide. I am planning a, spoiler alert here, I'm planning a video on this, maybe a Zoom class, I'm not sure. My husband is also studying this with me, so maybe we'll do the video together as a tag, I'm not sure. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that because it will be, we will have a standalone video. So DMSO. Now, where did I get this? You can get this from the feed store. It's 99% pure. You want to make sure that it's pure. DMSO. DMSO will freeze at room temperature. That's kind of strange. But anyway, I just bought a whole gallon of 99.9% pharmaceutical grade. That's how impressed I am with this stuff the more I learn about it. Another thing that's going to be in my bag is what's called Lugol's iodine. And it's very difficult to find 5% Lugol solution. Lugol's is iodine and iodide mixed together. And so that's what you're looking, that's what Lugol's is. And so I don't know who was the first one I heard it from. It may have been Dr. Thomas Levy, who is a cardiologist and an attorney, and Dr. McCullough, Dr. Brownstein, Dr. Mercola. All of these big doctors are talking about Lugol's when dealing with the virus that we've all heard about in recent years. So I try not to mention the name because it gets my videos axed from YouTube. So and this one may get axed, so I'm probably going to put it on Rumble. Anyway, Lugol's, most people are deficient in iodine. Yes, you can eat seaweed, but most people are so deficient, it's just going to take a while to get your levels up. Plus, the oceans are quite contaminated. Now, there's a lot of uses for iodine. I recommend, I think it's Dr. Fletchis, George Fletchis, has a webpage and a lot of videos and information about iodine. And I think Dr. Brownstein does it as well, if I'm not mistaken. So since I mentioned the iodine right there now, I'm going to introduce my first gadget. And my first gadget that is going to go with me is my nebulizer. And let me get this here. It attaches by this tubing to this little cup. You put your solution, whatever it is you're wanting to deliver to your sinuses or your lungs or whatever. You put that in this little cup, you mix it, and I'll tell you what I'm doing in just a minute. And I prefer the mask over the little mouthpiece. You can use a mouthpiece and use, you've probably seen on TV or in the hospital, or maybe you have one of these. The mouthpiece is okay, but I like to get it up in my sinuses even more, and so I like the mask. Now, what I've been doing, let me just tell you quick what I've been putting in here. I take food grade hydrogen peroxide and I dilute it way down. And you can, I'm not going to give you the amounts on that because I don't want to get myself in trouble, but you can Google it. I Googled it and found it very easily. So it has to be extremely, extremely, extremely diluted. You extremely dilute it. Okay, I hope I made that point clear. But I used the 35% hydrogen peroxide, a drop of iodine, a little bit of vitamin C powder, and I think I put a little bit of liquid magnesium called Remag. You can use magnesium chloride, like the flakes, the bath flakes, you can put that in there, and with a little bit you want to bring it up to about 8 cc's on there. I think it's 8 cc's. Anyway, and then you just swirl it around, mix it together, and then you hook it to your machine and you nebulize that. Now, I have seen amazing results with this. I've had people who had, I'm just going to say it, the COVID cough for weeks, and they couldn't get rid of it. And then when they started nebulizing this, it was gone in days. It took care of it. Now, I'll show you the type of, I used to have a different nebulizer, but this is the one that I've gotten. It's made by, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, P-A-R-I, Pari or Perry. It's the Perry ProNev Max. This is by no means the cheapest nebulizer, but it's a nice machine. I had a different model. I still have it, and I've decided to relegate that as my loaner. That's the one I'm going to loan out when somebody's in desperate need. The reason I like the Perry ProNeb is because with my older machine, which was, I think the brand was BEC, Beck, I had gotten off of Amazon. The Perry Pro I got from a website called Just Nebulizers. And so the older model was much cheaper. It was like a third of the price of this Perry Pro. But it took like 30 minutes to nebulize, 6 to 8 milliliters of solution. And I got tired of sitting there that long. But this thing right here, wow, it's a game changer. I mean, it nebulizes this stuff in 10 minutes or less, which is wonderful. It's really nice to be done so quickly. So that is definitely going with me. If I had to pack up and I'm going to have electricity, that one is going with me. Okay, while I'm showing gadgets, let me show this one. Now, I've had, because of mold toxicity, I've had a ton of sinus problems. And even if just a head cold or something, this is called a Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. You can find them on Amazon, eBay, whatever. And they make these little salt cups that you can put in there, but there's a way that you can just mix your own. You put the saline water in the top, and I usually put a drop of iodine in there. And it's battery operated, and it pulls your solution is here, and you stick this in your nose like so, and then it by suction, I guess, I don't know if it pulls and pushes, but it pulls this solution and sucks it out of your sinuses, and the solution comes down in here, and you can look at that and see all the goobers that came out of your sinuses. And man, this thing really, really is nice. I like it a lot. So my Navage is going with me. Okay, let's see. Navage, again, you can find on Amazon or anywhere. All right, let's get into, okay, we'll talk about essential oils now real quick. So I need to wrap this up. I don't want to keep you guys too long. So here's one of my essential oil bags. I keep getting in the wrong frame here. So, and this thing is absolutely packed full of oils. And I have another one that is equally as full, and I have a tote about this big that's full. But now I've been doing essential oils for a while. Now, so what I'm going to do, I decided to just put this out of my mind, and so I'm picking my top 7 sitting here with you right now, okay? So let's look at my top 7. My number 1 go-to is going to be frankincense, okay? Frankincense, there's a saying, if you don't know what to do, call Frank, okay? Because frankincense literally is good for just about everything. It's one of the more expensive essential oils. Now, many years ago, a friend of mine introduced me to doTERRA, and so I have an account with doTERRA, and that's where I get mine, simply because I've kind of accrued a little bit of, I don't know, it's not really seniority, but rewards points or whatever, and I get a discount on what I buy from there, because I guess I've been there for a while. Excuse me. So, you know, there's other brands. I brought a Now brand just to show that, you know, I'm not exclusive to doTERRA, but I do believe that doTERRA is probably one of the best essential oils. There's some of the high, you know, very popular name brand essential oils that, you know, I've read some shady dealing about, and so I kind of steer clear of some of them. But my mother deals with a company called Melaleuca, and their stuff seems to be pretty decent. In fact, I think I have, this is from Melaleuca, it's the rosemary. Okay, that will be my second one. So frankincense would be my first, rosemary would be my second. Now, why rosemary? Well, there's several reasons. When you think about essential oils or herbs or anything, you know, try to think strategically. Okay, what am I going to be using these oils for? Okay, if it's for wound care, then, you know, and I have a video called Salves, Tinctures, and Extracts where I talk about this. But I'm going to need something to deal with biofilm. If you don't know what biofilm is, that's kind of a shield that bacteria use, and it's also kind of a way that they communicate. Well, if you take away the shield and the communication of an army, they're very vulnerable. So you need something that will deal with biofilms. Well, rosemary is fantastic biofilm buster. So if I'm looking at it for maybe a salve blend, like I make this boo-boo balm, often I will put rosemary essential oil in my boo-boo balm because it helps with biofilm. Okay. Another thing is if you put rosemary essential oil in a diffuser and diffuse into your room, not only does it help to purify the air, but rosemary increases memory by up to 70%. So diffuse it when you're studying, when you're meditating on the Bible or whatever. Diffuse rosemary. It helps a lot with memory. Okay, what else would I choose? All right, we're dealing with a lot of respiratory crud these days, so probably eucalyptus would be on my list. Okay, definitely eucalyptus. Now let me look here. I'm definitely not going to forget oregano. Oregano is kind of like the artillery. I should know how to say that because we're right outside the back gate of what used to be Fort Benning, Georgia. Now it's Fort Moore. So oregano is good for all kinds of infections. You know, I'm a little scared of oregano, to be quite honest, because I was stupid one time. I put a drop of oregano in a glass of water and drank it because I was having some, you know, respiratory issues. And I thought, well, you know, I'm the kind of person, if one is good, two's better. So I put 2 drops and maybe not quite as much water because I thought, well, that wasn't too bad. I could handle. I thought I was going to die. It spasmed my throat down and I couldn't breathe for, it was a full minute that I could not get any air in, and it must have burned my vocal cords because I sounded like, you know, a 40-year smoker for probably a week. So I have a healthy respect for oregano, But if I'm going to grab, you know, just a few oils and take off with them, this is definitely going to be one of them. Okay, so we have eucalyptus, rosemary, frankincense, oregano. What else am I going to choose? Let me think about my big guns. One that I think I probably would want to have with me is myrrh. Now, I'm kind of ashamed to show you my bottle of myrrh. This essential oil bag has this little foam thing in it that protects my oils. And one day I put my myrrh in there and I didn't realize I had some myrrh on my hands, and it was, you know, still on the outside of the bottle. Well, I don't know how well you can see that, but myrrh is a resin. It's a sticky gum resin, and if you leave even a little bit, it actually glued my bottle down into this foam, and it looks disgusting. Glued the lid shut. Now, I can still open the lid and get it open, and the reason for that, if you don't do this, what I'm fixing to tell you, you may get this lid on and never get it off, or have to get a pair of pliers or something. Don't use your teeth. I used to do that. Anyway, what I do whenever I first open my bottle of myrrh, by the way, is kind of like frankincense. It's good for everything. So I open it up and I take a little bit of oil, like olive oil or coconut oil. I actually prefer coconut oil because it kind of hardens at room temperature. And so I put that around there. It kind of helps it to stay there better. I put that on the threads and on the inside of the lid when I first open my oil. That way, if there is some of the essential oil on that, I'll be able to still get my jar open. Okay, so that's 5. I have 2 more that I can choose. Let me think strategically here. This one's tough, but definitely lavender. I hate the smell of lavender. I know I'm the one that's odd, but other than the smell, lavender is fantastic. It's another one that's good for a lot of things, and one of the things that I use it for a lot of people use it for anxiety and calming and stuff like that, and it does help with that, except me, because I don't like the smell. But it's very good for burns. So if you have a burn, that is a fantastic oil to go through, to get. Wow, I only have 1 left, and I have so many good ones here. Oh, I'm not going to choose this one because this one is incredibly expensive. So I think probably what I'm going to do is go with peppermint, because not only is peppermint refreshing, it's good for the respiratory system, it's good for the GI tract. Peppermint is another one of those very, very versatile essential oils. So here's the lineup. We have eucalyptus, rosemary, frankincense, oregano, myrrh, lavender, and peppermint. Those are probably the oils that I use more than any other. But you see my struggle, you know, because I'm looking here and I'm thinking, wow, that one's so great. This one is so fantastic. Turmeric is so good for inflammation, and ginger is so good for so much stuff, and fennel and the stomach, and tangerine is a really good dilator of the bile ducts. So you see the dilemma. But at any rate, these are ones I'm definitely going to have with me when I take off, and I only have a few things. One other thing that I want to mention while I'm here, and that is, you know, I have a video on this, and this is usnea. If you've never heard of usnea, go watch the video that I have on called Usnea lichen, U-S-N-E-A, lichen. As far as I know, usnea grows in every state, including Arizona, which is a desert state. So, but there are trees. In fact, I think the largest stand of, is it ponderosa pine, I think, is in Arizona. Did you know that? I didn't either until this year. But anyway, usnea is one of these fantastic things to have around because it's antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, and it's so easy to harvest. It's easy to identify. Go watch the video. We have a horse right now that has a corneal abscess, and I'm making a tea out of this, and I add a little bit of salt, so it's a little, like a little saline tea with usnea in it, and I'm putting that, irrigating her eye with that, and it's improving a lot. And I had a screw placed into my jaw, and they gave me antibiotics for that, or a prescription, but I didn't want to take that. And so what I did was, when I made the tea to irrigate the horse's eye, I made extra, and I just would swish with this usnea tea, 2 or 3 times a day. And I haven't had any problem with that. And so anyway, that's a plug to really get out and learn how to forage, because I paid nothing for this. I picked it up in the yard here at my mother's house, in the front yard. So I'm going to quit, because I could go on and on all day, and I don't want to keep you too long. But these are just some things that I wanted to share. I hope it's beneficial. Definitely. In fact, one of the things that I carry with me all the time is cayenne pepper. If I had to choose out of all of this just one thing, it'd probably be cayenne. Probably. Okay, that's enough. We'll see you guys next time.